as the leader of this organization, I'd like to get some insight from you on how you're continuing to inspire to lead your team. Obviously, your employees are very dedicated. We've seen that today, and this is a very challenging time. So this is your chance to inspire the rest of us, and tell us what you're doing.
Well, if I can, I've been pretty fortunate to have some good people around me and give me good advice. So if I can help someone else, that would be great. So, after the fact, if anyone ever wants to reach out to me and ask questions, I'd be more than willing to help. But we're really just sticking to the basics, right? We're making it fun. We're holding people accountable. We're making sure they have the tools to do their job. We're being very inclusive, and we're doing our best to be an early adopter. And I'll tell you a little bit about that. But when it comes to making it fun, what I mean to say is, we need to make people laugh. There's nothing fun about, quarantine or being isolated. We want to have that empathy and say, hey, I'm there too. But there's nothing fun about having a 7:30 meeting on Monday. And if we can make it a little bit fun and make people laugh for just a second, I think that's the first start of the day, and we're at least on the right track. We have executive leadership meetings every morning at 7:30. They're short huddles. They're 10 to 15 minutes. And, I'll try something funny. Maybe I'll put on a motorcycle helmet or, give myself a mohawk. Or if you're not the person to do that, then task someone with every once in a while making it fun, because it gets everybody laughing and lightening it up. And we continue that throughout the morning, where team leaders are also meeting with their teams for their quick huddles. And we also require that everybody's on video, live. We've been doing this for over a month now. And that way you can keep people's faces, you can see who's engaged and who's not engaged, and you can help those people, turn that attitude around, because we want to be positive. Mm-hmm. In regards to holding people accountable, with 80 to 90% of our workforce remote now, this is the opportunity to rewrite our accountability playbook. And it's a one-time opportunity to set new expectations. And maybe that's having managers at the end of every day give you a recap as a leader on where are we at, what are we doing, where are our metrics at, And if you didn't do that before, then you surely should be doing something like that now. One of the interesting parts is when people don't have the right tools. And I find it very interesting that you'll find that a lot of your people, or at least a good portion of your people, will work from a laptop at home. Well, how productive is that when they've been using 2 or 3 monitors at work with a faster computer? Make sure they have the tools they need at home, whether it's triple monitors, whether it's great bandwidth. We require a picture of your workspace. What does it look like? Test the internet. What's the speed? How fast are we? We require video. None of this just remote in on the phone. I want to see somebody's face. I want to be there with them. I want that personal touch. There's just no way around that. As far as inclusion goes, inclusion's another biggie. I'll tell you, it was a pretty tough decision, I think. And I'm not afraid to talk about this. We were probably one of the first companies in our industry in this region to lay some people off and furlough some people. And, we had literally every other day we had a company meeting at 4:45, and now we're down to 2 meetings a week, company meetings. But I will tell you, having that heads up and communicating that with people and telling them how I really felt about it and where I thought we were going, and having everybody on Microsoft Teams, which we've become absolute experts at, but fortunately, half of our company was using it before this. I had a lot of feedback from people saying, at least we knew what was coming and what was going on. But the best part about it is now when we have our meeting tonight, I'll talk about how some of these people are already coming back because we've got new work training programs that are rolling out and just some really good stuff where we're bringing people back. One of my last company meetings, I had somebody ask, like, Joe, hey, what's going to be the plan can we continue to work from home? Have you thought about that? So we started polling people. Hey, off the record, what are your thoughts? And our what we'll discuss tonight in our meeting is that over the next minimum 30 days, probably 60 days, we're not coming back. We're going to work remote. The technology's there. We're going to be productive. And there's that new level of accountability that we can use because of this whole opportunity. And I have to look at it like an opportunity. So it's extremely unique, but I think being upfront and open about it, I mean, you can't discuss everything, but we've had other people say, well, we just got an email, instead of just being honest. And sometimes there's no good news at all, and that's okay. Sometimes it's serious, but we try and be funny in those too in the beginning, just to lighten the load a little bit. The last but not least is being an early adopter, and really, you don't have to do the norm. We recently just recruited and hired a new manager from a competitor who I don't think we would have ever had the opportunity to recruit and hire. Not given the circumstances, because maybe they didn't feel appreciated and they saw the opportunity we have and we explained what we've done. And so be a leader, be an early adopter. Don't be afraid to be bold and be brave. And I think you'll have success. And the communication is really the key. Don't be afraid in a company meeting to say, hey, open it up for open discussion. So many owners are scared to death to have 60 people on a Teams or a Zoom call and say, does anyone have any questions? And there's always that one person that asks that question, but I would have never known to ask other people questions without dealing with that tough question. So
Tom, I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. What caught you off guard the most out of all of this? I mean, nobody really had the runway to be able to predict that something like this would happen. And obviously you guys at Allied have been very proactive, but what challenge did you face that maybe you weren't expecting to face as the leader?
Well, I did believe from the very beginning. I talked to my team and said, hey, this is going to be a 2 to 3 month thing. No, guaranteed. I mean, we are not getting out of this in 60 days. It's going to be difficult. And we'll talk about that tonight. The next 60 days are going to be tough. One of the pieces I really didn't see is I would have never had I don't think our IT staff will ever come back. I mean, they're going to work from home probably. That's just the way it is. And that's how we're going to continue to recruit and create great people, because I'm sure there's companies that are saying, oh, no, you're coming back to work. You get back in that office. And we'll be there to say, well, maybe they don't need to as long as we have good metrics. But I think mainly the time that it may take farther than 60 maybe makes me a little bit nervous, but the fact that people really are happy working from home is very surprising, including myself. I came in the office this morning and somebody said, well, it's nice to see you. And I said, oh, but I'm trying to come in at least at noon sometimes,
Well, we appreciate you coming in at noon. Thank you. What would you say in terms of opportunities for companies? Because, we talked a little bit about some of the specific opportunities when we discussed, security, IT, communications, but bigger picture, holistic approach to what's happening. Where's the opportunity for companies?
Well, the opportunity is to, number one, is to look at every penny your company spends, right? And change those policies and procedures that maybe weren't perfect. Right now, you have to have the courage to make difficult decisions, whether that's hiring, firing, communicating, vendors, reworking with your vendors. Where are you at? And ranking those vendors on how you really feel about it. What are those relationships like? Now's your chance to make big decisions, whether it's acquisitions, talent, recruiting. I mean, we're investing right now. We're investing our hard-earned capital in talent acquisition, right? That's a big piece, because we do know in 90 days, things are going to improve for sure. So, and it's going to take us 90 days to really onboard somebody. So why not do that now? So if you're not looking at the right people, you really should be.
Mm-hmm. What have you learned about your staff through all of this? I mean, we know, that, Joe likes to play games and he's the IT guy but what have you really learned overall about your team that maybe surprised you?
I've learned more, I think, really just about them and how, and this is brutally honest, that they're passionate. They absolutely care about the long-term health of this company. They absolutely care. And they'll do whatever it takes for us to be successful. And I think they know that I'm doing the work to make sure that we're in a good position in 30, 60, 90, a year out, so that we can keep growing at the rate we've been growing. And frankly, I see them more often now because I'm on Zoom with people all the time, which we use Microsoft Teams because it's more collaborative for us. And frankly, that's a big deal. If you're not using Teams, you might want to consider that. I know we're using Zoom for this one, but Teams really rocks. So
let's, if we can, we only have a couple minutes left, but I just wanted to ask you, based on your experience and your knowledge in the industry, what do you think is going to change? We understand like the workplace and businesses, but what do you think is going to change in the industry?
Well, I think we've just elevated or increased the rate of print reduction, probably by 15 to 20% minimum, could be 25. However, the technology piece is completely on the fast track as far as, I think the days of I've got this one IT guy that kind of helps me and he, I pay hourly when he comes out. I think those days are going to come to an abrupt end. Because we'll see an increase in security issues. And unfortunately, people don't realize that things aren't really managed the way they could be until they get cryptocurrency and they're hacked. They got all kinds of issues, and it's too late.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So if you had to give one piece of advice to everybody, we've had, hundreds of people that have registered for this episode or show, as I like to call it. If you could give one piece of advice, Tom, to people listening right now with regards to what they can take away from this conversation that we've had with the Joes and Brent, what would that be?
It'd be to educate yourself. Reach out to the best people in your industry, talk to them, see how they're doing, and really just spend time reading. Spend time with people that are super successful, that have already done it, and use best practices. And, don't be afraid to meet with people. I think it's meeting with somebody like Joe or Brent, they're not salesy people. It's more about if they can help provide a solution, generally it's an advantage to that company to improve performance. Automation is so important. I've always been, I've got a whole operations center full of triple monitors and the best PCs, and half the monitors are missing because they're at people's houses. But I've always been a big believer in automating processes. I think it's so important.
And I think it's a good time to sit back and listen to your team, to your clients too. This is an opportunity to reach out to customers and understand them a little more.
We've been very successful. We had one of our biggest Marches ever in sales, and I think that had a lot to do with really reaching out and saying, "Hey, how can I help you?" Mm-hmm. And we've benefited them, and we've also benefited us. So it's really been a win-win. And I think if you're genuine and you're really trying to help people and you want to do the right thing, I think you're going to be successful.